this again. I did it according to the note. I should have done it according to the income and expense. So let's just quickly see. What is my other income? It's income received in advance. If that makes my income less, it will make my net profit less. Right? If I look at my accrued expense and prepaid expense makes my expense less, meaning it makes my net profit more. Okay, does that make more sense?
No.
Okay, must I explain it again?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it with figures. Let's say my net profit is 1,000, ne? Right? Now I say to you, your rent income, ne, was 1,000. Okay. Now can you see, if I didn't show that 1,000, the profit would become more with 1,000. Okay, that makes sense. If I say to you there's an accrued income of 200, can you see your profit would become more with 200? Does that make sense? Yeah, because your income becomes more, so your profit becomes more. Let's say I say to you, does that make sense how I do it?
Yeah, I'm the problem.
Okay, so let's say I say there was a income received in advance. Can you see now my income becomes 800? So this is also going to become 800. Do you understand?
Okay.
You with me? Okay. If I talk about rent expense, and I say my rent expense is 1,000, and my net profit is 1,000. Can you see, if I didn't show that rent expense, my profit, and I show it now, my profit would be 0. Does that make sense?
No.
Does it make sense? I hear no, yes. Look me in the eye if you don't, that I can do it again. Okay. So let's go to an income statement. Let's see if I can find income statement. I'm going to go, let me just first install this. Those were the days, my friend. Okay, so can you see there's my income statement, ne? Now, if my income, rent income, can you see rent income becomes more, which means the total income becomes more, which means my profit in the end is going to become more. Okay? Can you see if that was a minus, ne? That amount, so that means my income becomes less, which means my profit becomes less. Okay.
For interruption before the end of test period, when we...
So now, if I do the expense, ne? Can you see if I have an adding of the expense, ne? It means the amount that I'm going to minus becomes more. And if the amount that I'm going to minus becomes more, it means in the end the profit is going to become less. Does that make sense? If, however, it's going to become a less, let's say the salary and wages isn't 475, it's 400,000. Can you see that that top there is going to be 75,000 less, which means I am now subtracting a smaller amount, meaning the amount here, the profit is going to become more. Does that make sense? So always have this format in place. Okay? So if I say to you, oh, I forgot to subtract debtor's allowance, what's going to happen to my net profit? Debtor's allowance makes my sales less. So the starting amount is going to be less than what I thought it was. meaning in the end the profit is going to be less. Okay? In this case we made an extra sale that wasn't recorded. So what's happening now? My sales income is becoming more, meaning this amount is now more, which means this amount here is also more. You guys see how it works? Okay. So it's important, they are actually testing your understanding of the income statement. So let's try the question again. I'm sorry that I made a bloop, but let's do this. The provision for bad debt, let's go through that again. Remember, provision for bad debt, I say the new less the old gives me the adjustment. If the adjustment is positive, it's an expense. If it's negative, it's a income. Now they say their provision for bad debts must be increased, meaning it's a plus. Ne? By. If they say by, it's the adjustment. Okay, so that's why it's plussing. You see? Which means it's an expense. And because it's an expense, I know my expense becomes more, which means my profit becomes less. If they said there 2, it would be that 7,350 is the new one. Then you still have to calculate the adjustment by subtracting the one in the trial balance. Is everybody with me? I've explained this now more than once. Okay, now let's go to the insurance. 12,000 of the insurance was for period 1st July till 31st December. Now we saw there my year ends June, so this whole amount here is a prepaid expense. So it means my expense will become less because prepaid I'm going to minus. So the amount I'm going to subtract from sales to get my profit is going to become more. That's why it's a 12,000 plus. So this rent income was quite an interesting one. They say rent has been received for 1st July till 31st August. So first of all, you can see 2 months is in advance. Can you see there? July and August is income received in advance. And income received in advance makes my income less, meaning my profit is less. Can you see it's a minus? But now let's do the calculation. So what he did here is he said, due to additional storage, the rent was increased by 500 Rand per month for 3 months only. May, June, July. So can you see July is going to be the increased amount, ne? 100 plus the increase. And August is only going to be the normal amount. That's why you have 2 amounts there. You guys with me? Okay, so it's 500 Rand a month increase. Now let's do this. So I see I have a financial year, 1st July till 30 June, and July and August is in advance. So I'm working with 14 months. Okay, now only May, June, July, 3 months is 500 Rand extra. That 500 gives me 1,005. So I take the total rent. What is the total rent? 105, 100. I subtract the 1,005. Ne? Because I want to see how it will be. This is what I would have received if there was not an increase of 500. And that is what I would have received for 14 months. And when I do that, I get the 7,400. You see?
Yeah.
So this is August. July, however, he paid that amount plus the 500 increase. Okay. Now once again, can you see it counts 3 marks? Okay. Let's go. Director's fees. So the director's fees, this is very dark. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Not really. If I switch on the light, will that help you? I added only July, so only June, July, and May, June, and July was 500 more. So the 2 months in advance, one of them was more and one of them was normal.
So what about
Now, August was normal again. Because if you read there, when was the increase? The increase,
the bottom rate?
for May till July. Can you see August, it's normal price again.
For August, the normal one.
You add, so in other words, August is without the increase.
That is
Yeah, it's weird because he swapped it. So this is August and this is July. July was with the increase and August was without the increase. Yeah. No, that is your calculation. Yeah, sorry. Director's fees. So with director's fees, it's always important to see that you know how many people you got. In the end, you want to see your total months. So they have 2 directors. Both were paid their fees for June, were not paid. So they both only got 11 months. You agree with me? A 3rd director was appointed 1st of February. Okay? So we have him, number 3, we have him February, March, April, May, June. 5 months. Okay? So can you see my total months is 27? Okay. And now it works like we usually do the rent with the 10% increase. Because what happens here? I have, from that 27 months, 22 months was 100%. Ne? Yeah. 5 months was 90%. Does that make sense? Because usually what I would do is I will count the months before the increase and the months after the increase. So he uses that same principle here. Ne? But the principle now says 2 directors 100%, 1 director 90%. You see? And the 2 directors were 22 months. So for 22 months I paid a base salary. Ne? Why 22? Because it's 2 people. Each one 11 months. And what is my goal? My goal is, for that I want the 2 months that's accrued, ne, at 100%. You understand what I'm saying? Please, talk to me. The other 5 months, ne, we paid the guy only 90%. So that gives me 2,200, and 5 times 90 gives me 560. 450. 450. So now I get the total weight. So I take the total director fee of, this is a longer, 1,126,250. If I divide that by 2,650, ne, I get a weight, and I times it with 200. Why 200? because I want those 2 directors, ne? 2 months. What do they get each month? 100%. You see? And that's how they got. Okay, so they have, can you see there? The 1126 times the 200 over the 2650. It's the unknown over the known. You see? The other method that you could have used, and because it's an accrued expense, ne, makes my expense more, makes my profit less. You guys with me? So now, in other words, another way they did it is if you take the 1126 to 50, ne, and you subtract what they were supposed to receive. Okay. So that would be a whole total different calculation. But this is the one that we know. So please follow this one. Okay. Everybody listening? You're looking at me skeptical. That, are you wondering about the 1211
No, about the mental break.
About that?
The mental break.
Oh, mental break does not exist anymore. Okay, everybody with me? Okay, so you have to get that one. You have to get that one. These two were difficult, right? Then you had to get that one. You had to get that one. So apparently, you guys still don't know how your income statement works. What do you subtract from your income statement? The income tax. What do they say here? A further 55,000 is owed for income. Ne? Now you ask me, why can't you just subtract? You must already subtracted the tax. Oh, look here. They gave you net profit when? Before tax. They have not subtracted tax at all. So now they say, we have already paid this such guy 235. We still owe him 55. So what's my tax? This is the thing you have to know. And if you had it wrong, go work it out again and learn it. Retained income you should get 100%, because retained income is a note that's always going to be there. Always. If it's not in question 1, it will be in question 2. So now let's go. Net profit after tax. Now I need to see that this is there. If I can't see that this is there, I can't give you a bagel.
The way I just do is going to be hard.
Yeah, but at least you tried. Okay. So, repurchase of shares. What did I tell you? I told you, you have to show me your calculation. If you show me the amount of shares, ne, times the above average in brackets gives you your answer. If I got that 100,000 right and this is wrong, I still get 2 marks. And guess what? I'm quite sure that they told you it's 100,000 shares. Let's see. 4% of the issued shares were repurchased. How many shares were issued? 2.5 million. 2.5 million times 4% gives you 100,000. Now they say that it was repurchased at 6 Rand 10. Now that 6 Rand 10 is the total repurchase price. Go see how many of you times the 100,000 with that. You have to find above. So that 610 would be the average and the above average. We're looking for that one. So what is the average? The average is, can you see, nothing happened between the beginning and the repurchase. So if I say, what was my 2.5 million shares? How much was it? Where will I find it? In my trial balance. There. There's my ordinary share capital. Ne? Now I want to know that 9.6, that was the end of the year. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the beginning of the year. The beginning. So I'm going to say 10 million. Ne? 10 million shares. It's quite a lot of zeros. The best way to do your zeros is to work in columns of 3. So 10 million divided 2.5 gives me what? 4 Rand. So the average is 4 Rand. What is the above average? 2 Rand 10. Okay. Sharp. Now, ordinary share dividends. Interim, they told you there was nothing issued. No? Not declared. What is my final? Now, before I even go and work it out, let's quickly see if they didn't give me shareholders for dividends. No, they didn't. Okay, otherwise I could have taken it just as is. Now they say, okay, 21 cents for the end of the year. Now look at this marking. Can you see one bagel, one accuracy? So if you just wrote times 21 cents, even if that is wrong, at least you can get one. Okay, how did they get the 2.4? The 2.4 less the 100,000 shares, ne, that were in issue gives me 2.4. Right? You guys with me? Please go work this out again this afternoon. Do not wait for tomorrow. This afternoon you sit, you work this out again while it's fresh in your head. And then tomorrow you go watch the video. Okay. Now, you guys, I'm saying to you, you have to make the balance sheet your friend. Because the balance sheet will give you either a lot of marks or a lot of headaches. And I truly hope it's the lot of marks. Because if you know your format, can you just quickly go with me? Can you see if you add it? Bagel. Ne? Bagel, 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 bagel. Ne? So in other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 50% of this question is about format. So, let's start. Fixed assets. They don't give me fixed assets. What do they give me? They give me fixed assets, the opening. Right? The opening. Now this is why I'm saying I would have given 2 ticks, not just 1. Okay? Now where does he get that 1352 from? He gets it from C. Go to C. After considering all the changes affecting fixed assets during the year until the end of the year, the total movement. So the opening and the movement gives you the closing. Okay? Fixed deposit. Financial assets, they say a third will mature. A third will mature, meaning 2/3 will not mature. And you have to know your principle that says the part that's going to mature will form part of cash. Next one. Inventory was a balancing figure. So meaning if you could say, so basically how it works is if you get the liability, the equity and liability. The equity and liability would be the total assets. Hey. Yeah. The total assets less the non-current gives you the current. Less these totals gives me the inventory. Okay. Trade and other receivables. Guys, by now you should know. Less the what? The provision for bad debts. They did not give you the provision for bad debts, but what did they give you? They gave you the net trade debtors, meaning they already took the debtors control and they subtracted the provision for bad debts. Right? They already did it. But now, in this adjustment, they told you, oh, they forgot to increase it with the 7,350. So that must still be decreased. Can you see if they decreased it, I would have increased it. Okay. The 12,000 is a prepaid expense. Please remember, receivables is prepaid expense and accrued income. Okay? Transfer. Once again, I say to you, whenever there is a transfer, you do a T. T for debtors, T for creditors. And you will see it's always a minus minus or a plus plus. They never mix. It's apartheid. Okay? They're not going to mix. You won't have a minus plus or a plus minus. It's always minus minus plus plus. So, what do they say? What am I transferring? A debtor with a debit balance. So there is my debtor with the debit balance. So now I can see it's on the plus side. I want to transfer. What do? I want to cancel. So it's going to be a minus, minus. Okay. Can you see? Minus, minus. Right? And they love asking this. Yes, because what happens is this guy buys from me and I buy from him. So now in my books, I don't want him to be a debtor and a creditor. I want him to be one. So he owes me 9,000. Is it 9? 9,000. But I owe him, I don't know how much. So instead of him paying me the 9,000, I say, let's subtract it from what I owe you. Okay. Cash and cash equivalents, I think that would be my bank. Yeah, they gave you cash and cash equivalents. Remember, it's only bank that can move up to bank overdraft at the bottom. Okay? And this fixed deposit that matures has got nothing to do with your bank because you have not received the money yet. It's only the bank transactions that influence the bank. Okay? Sharp. Now, next one. Next one is my capital retained. I just needed to transfer my adjustment, so I need to see it. I need to see it. Can you see that you cannot decide to save time by not adding? Because then you lose that bagel and that bagel and that bagel. That's 3 giveaway marks. And since this was a difficult paper, you cannot throw away easy marks. Okay, let's go look at the loan. So the first thing I need you to see is that this little guy is this little guy. Okay? Please go make sure that you know that. So, I always take the closing balance less the short-term loan. Now, I say to you, and I'm saying it on the video, I did this in detail with my grade 10s also. Okay? They have not done weird short-term loans yet. They just done the principle. Go listen to their intro to the balance sheet and the income statement and adjustments, because that is the most basic that you can get. Okay? So, let's go look. What am I looking at? Loan. So, they give me repayments inclusive of interest, and then they give me interest. This accounts for 30% of the total repayment for the year. So meaning that 234 is 30. I'm looking for 100. Okay? Now let's see what other information they give me. Can you see they give me the opening? Now I want the closing. So let's do this. I got an opening and a closing and a bank and an interest on loan. Okay, they give me the opening. They give me the interest. I have now calculated the payments. How much is that? $780, like that. So what is my closing? 1. Okay. Now, what is the short-term loan? 270. Okay. So 125, 4,000, ne? Less the 270. How do they get that 546? That 546 is the 780
Plus
less the interest, ne? Because remember, I only want to show the part that makes the loan less. Yeah. That's how they got that one. Yes, let me just highlight for you that one there, and that gives me the 780. Yes. The 780 is if I take the interest. Why did I say times 70? Isn't it times 100 over 30? Yeah, it's 30%. So just fix this on your memo. Just fix this on your memo. Okay. Interest plus payment gives me the total payment. The total payment is 100. Okay? Yeah. So I must not put it over 70. I must put it over 100. Yes.
I think the question you did was right.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's-
didn't need to
Because
calculate.
it gave us the 5460, the 546.
No, this is right. The way I did it like this. The 780 is right.
This is the
Oh, so I get what you say. So if I said 234 times 70 over 30, I will get the 546. So funny, I scratch out everything and then I rewrite exactly the same. Okay, you guys with me? Okay, now can you see that even if you had that wrong, you can still have 1, 2, 3 marks?
Remember 780 must be negative.
Why?
Because
Oh, I get what you're saying.
546.
Yeah,
If it
it's
was a
fine.
positive, yeah.
It's fine.
67 mad.
Okay, you have it. So you want to do this?
Yes, amazing.
Still
Thank
sharp. Okay? Because my sign is right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Trade and other payables. So this is my, what was that? Accrued income. Ne? No. Prepaid income. Income received in advance. Income received in advance. Ne? Can you see bagel? The transfer and the director's fee, which is an accrued expense. Bagel. And if you added or minused anything, even if it's wrong as daylight, you still get your bagel. Shareholders for dividends. Please guys, always remember, you go to your retained, ne? You're going to take that, oh now everything looks the same. You're going to take that final, the final goes here. Ne? Please. And such they gave to you. Where? Oh, here. They say a further 55,000 is owed. They gave it. It was given. So let's just quickly make sure. Remember, such, I want the income tax in the income statement. Okay? In this case, it's what I already paid and what I owed. How do I know what was paid? Oh, I go look. It's the balance in my balance sheet section. And can you see it's a debit balance? Remember when I did the T for SASH? It used to be balance, bank. Bank, bank, income tax. Balance, CO, balance, BD. So that bank there, because that just cancels out what I owe. But that bank is this one here. It's what I paid, right? Now they tell me I still owe 50. So that would be my balance CO, balance BD, ne? Would be 55. And that's why I add that 55 to what I already paid to get my income tax. Okay? So, in my income statement goes the income tax, the real expense. In my balance sheet goes what I owed, either what I owe or what they owe. So if they have owed me 55, can you see that then you would have subtracted it from what I already paid? And I would have showed it with receivables. So in your balance sheet, you literally just want to show the outstanding. Let me quickly go through that provision for bad debts again. Right, Rini? So, I usually calculate the new one. It's the debtors control times the percentage gives me the new one. And that new one goes to the balance sheet. When I say debtors less provision for bad debt, it's that new one. And that gives me the net. Okay? Which is the one they gave in the trial balance. Okay. Then I subtract the old one. which is usually the one they give in the trial balance. They usually give a debtors provision for bad debts. In this case, they gave it net debtors, meaning they already subtracted. Okay? You see? And that gives me my adjustment, which goes to the income statement. And the adjustment, if it's a plus, it's an expense. If it's a minus, it's a income. So what they did in this case is they told you the provision has to increase with 7 whatever, 3 whatever. Ne? So they told you it's an expense. That's why I subtracted. In the that net profit that I fixed.
In the balance sheet.
I also subtracted it. Why? Because they gave me in the trial balance the net debtors, meaning they already took the debtors control less the provision for bad debt, but they haven't taken that 7,350 into account.